I'm Amy Cherry. Your local news is a service of Flagler County's Toyota dealer, Beaver Toyota, here to wow ya. Hurricane Florence won't be a direct threat to Flagler County, but we will still feel some of her effects. Bob Pickering is the county's emergency management technician.
We're expecting large surf and dangerous rip currents to steadily increase this week. Matter of fact, the National Weather Service is indicating a high risk of dangerous rip currents through Friday, and that might actually be extended into the weekend. There is a potential for some beach erosion just the same.
He says higher than normal astronomical tides will also have an impact.
That's going to actually allow the breakers and the swells and the surf to get up on the beach a little bit further than it normally would in a situation like this. And also inland, areas on the intercoastal waterway and also out on the St. Johns River Basin, you may see some really minor nuisance flooding in those typical low-lying areas.
Pickering recommends you stay out of the ocean until conditions improve.
This portion of WNZF Local News, a service of the Daytona Beach International Airport. Fly to the Big Apple in a New York minute on JetBlue from the Daytona Beach International Airport.
Bunnell has selected Alvin Jackson to be its next city manager after a 6-month search that had several starts and stops.
All those in favor of accepting the signed contract for the city manager signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? We have a new city manager. Congratulations, Mr. Jackson.
In a brief speech, Jackson thanked commissioners for the opportunity to serve their government.
For me, at the end of the day, it's about helping you touch the lives of people who are making a difference in the quality of lives here in Bunnell.
He says he'll hit the ground running in the next few weeks with a retreat so that they can together understand the city's goals and how to achieve them. The Flagler County School Board has set the lowest millage rate we've seen in nearly 25 years, although it still represents a slight increase. John Arking reports.
The district's millage rate will be 6.410, or $6.41 per $1,000 in taxable value, up from the current rate of 6.639 mils. Speaking to the board at a presentation during its September 4th final budget hearing, District Finance Director Tom Tant said because the new rate will be 1.66% higher than the rollback rate, it's considered a tax increase. He also informed the board that the required local effort, or RLE rate, will be 4.162 mils for Flagler County, 10th highest of the state's 67 counties, while its return will be 6th from the bottom. The RLE is determined through a state formula designed to help less wealthy counties fund their schools. The overall budget stands at just under $190 million, with the largest expenditures being salaries and benefits, along with school resource deputies and textbooks. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm John Arkin.
The Flagler Beach Marsh restoration has people facing off over the project. With more, here's Tony Magoo.
Near Flagler Beach, Elizabeth Hathaway and her neighbors look out and see a thriving series of waterways with birds, fish, and manatee, frequented by fishermen and kayakers alike. Coastal restoration scientists look at that same area and see a habitat that needs work, a network of ditches dug along tidal creeks in the 1950s for mosquito control that destroyed acres of salt marsh. Now a project to fill in those old ditches and restore 40 acres of coastal marsh along the intercoastal waterway behind Hathaway and her neighbor has pitted those perspectives against each other and fanned the flames of controversy. This proposal has Hathaway and her neighbors and local fishermen up in arms. They look across their backyards and all the cool stuff is already there. On Tuesday, they'll make their case to the district's governing board, set to approve the planned restoration at its regular monthly meeting in Palatka. In the meantime, members of the Flagler Sport Fishing Club, nearby property owners, and others have mounted a letter-writing campaign. The opponents want to either delay the work until it can be better investigated and publicized or try to stop it altogether. For Flagler's Morning News, I'm Tony Magoo.
And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Amy Cherry.